Okay. There are only a handful of people that I get absolutely inspired by and learn from and am fortunate enough to call my friend, my peer, my mentor, and just all around amazing dude. And tonight is really special for both Maurice and I because David Fagan, who I'm going to bring up here in a second, is one of those guys. He's super charismatic. He is an international speaker, trainer, author. He's going to talk about one of his books, a couple of his books. We have 2 books here of his tonight, Cracking the Icon Code, which is, if you do not have a copy of Cracking the Icon Code, we're going to raffle a few off. I promise you this book will change your business forever. It is that cool. It's a 3-hour read. It's exactly from takeoff to landing from Dallas International Airport to Los Angeles International Airport. It's exactly that long to read it. David has given thousands of people an opportunity, a chance to be better people, to be better business people. He is the owner of LCO, which is the 3rd largest PR agency here in Los Angeles. He works with celebrities, he works with speakers. Make sure he tells you how big his family is, because that means he's crazy. And I've watched him speak over the past few years, and every single time I like to sit in the back and I overnote, because he's that absolutely amazing. So you guys, please, a huge screaming round of applause for Mr. David Fagan.
We have to try that again. I kind of want to run down along the sides. This is different, right? This guy's different, kind of cool. I was having flashbacks to about 2006, 2007 when I was really starting to speak more. And I remember I was talking to this large group of real estate agents. And I had created all these things and done all these things. And it was about the same time the movie Aviator came out, right? Who's Aviator about? Howard Hughes, okay? And he's just a real entrepreneur, does all these different things. So I'm talking to this group of real estate agents. There's probably like 100 in this room. And I'm talking to them and I'm explaining how I've done all these things and created all these things. And so what I wanted to say was, jokingly, I wanted to say, yeah, you know, I'm practically Howard Hughes. But instead what I said was, yeah, I'm practically Hugh Hefner. A little different. I didn't even know what I said wrong there for a second, but you know, hey. So, guys, fail forward, right? Fail forward, get up, make big mistakes. Hopefully I won't say anything quite that wrong tonight. These days I don't feel like Hugh Hefner or Howard Hughes. But I thought I'd give you guys something that you could use. And to make sure that we do that, after the break, I want to do a Q&A and really, you know, answer questions for you guys. And, you know, make the information as specific to you as we possibly can. It's always my goal to make sure you guys get something out of this. Let me tell you another story here real quick. By the way, do you like stories? Yeah. You all like stories, right? I call it the story effect. I'm sure Maurice would tell you this. The story effect. And people remember stories. They like stories. I mean, since the dawn of time, we've been drawing on the cave walls, right? You know, because we love the story. Kids, tell me a story, tell me another story. We love stories. So I kind of tell you this because you guys are a little bit more experienced. I saw how many hands went up in the air, you know, speakers, things like that. So I'm going to kind of invite you to do something a little bit different today. Because you guys are more experienced, what you're going to see is a presentation and then kind of a presentation under the presentation. Okay? I want you to see if you guys can kind of catch it. Not just, you know, what I'm saying, but what I'm doing and maybe even why I'm doing it. Does that sound good? Sure. Some stories, presentation under the presentation. By the way, is it okay if I just give you a few things really quick?
Oh, yeah.
Sure. Something? Well, I did bring a couple of my books, and so for some of you who don't feel lucky and you don't want to just try to win by raffle by luck, what a terrible way to live your life. You're hoping to get lucky, right? It's a terrible way to live your life. So, what I'm going to do here is, you know, I want to give away one of these books, Cracking the Icon Code. book helped me get into Forbes last year. I was in the LA Business Journal. Anyone want one of these? Yeah. Okay. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Go. Do you want it? She's asking what's happening right now. She just said, what's happening right now? What's happening right now?
Creating
You know what's happening right now?
Creating a buzz.
Are you going to take it? Guys, if you want something, come take it. Why is there a natural instinct to just sit there? Yeah, let me raise my hand. As if I'm going to come to you? I'm already giving you a free book. Get up, come get it. By the way, is that kind of arrogant to want you to come get my book? I'm just trying to give you something. Right? So, presentation under the presentation. Alright, okay, so maybe we're going to do things for a reason here. Story, power plant, okay? Picture this power plant, true story, power plant. Humming along, a little bit of a hum. Everything's going perfect. There's power to the city. Okay, power to the city, everything's good. You gotta have power even just to be safe, right? All of a sudden, something pops, something cracks. Half the city goes out of power, no power. Got a bunch of people in white coats running around the power plant trying to figure out what's going on. And right away, they kind of realize they don't have any idea. And somebody says, hey look, we're probably going to have to call somebody in here. We're going to have to probably do it fast. There's this guy. He's good. Get him in here. It's like, okay, fine. Let's keep working on a solution. Meanwhile, let's call this guy, this expert. You know, somebody knows of him. We got to do everything we can to make sure the power gets back up and going. Because every second it's not going, we got problems. We got issues. Lives are at stake. Sure enough, the guy rushes down there. He comes in. He asks a few questions. And he starts walking around the power plant. Everybody's following him, right? Everyone's following him. They want to know what he's going to do. All of a sudden, he sees something. Big gray box. He walks up to that big gray box, pulls out a black marker, puts a big X on that box. He says, you fix that box, you're back up and running. People swarm around him. They flip open that gray box. They're fixing wires. They're putting in new fuses. They take that big switch. They flip it back up over the top. And the power's back on. And everybody's happy again. Emergency, it's over with. Problem solved. It was like it never happened, right? A couple days later, what happens? They get an invoice, right? They get the bill. Secretary runs into the foreman's office and goes, oh my goodness, look, this bill, we just got this bill from this expert, this guy, whoever he was. You know, look at this. On the bill, on the invoice, it's $10,000. The foreman says, well, how long was he here? I don't know, maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes? I mean, he wasn't here long. And the foreman kind of scratches his head and says, man, that's a lot of money. He says, okay, tell you what, write them back, tell them we want an itemized invoice. We got to get this thing broken down. We want to know what it is we're paying for, right? Overnight it to them, get it to them quick. I'm really curious. So they overnight it to them a couple days later, they get an overnight package back, they get an invoice. This time it's an itemized invoice. Okay, 2 lines on the invoice. First line says, for black X, $1. For knowing where to put that black X, $9,999. Right? Guys, this is how we need to live our lives. You know, we need to be the expert. We need to be on people's minds before the problem ever exists, before the need is ever there. So do we need to be there before or after?
Before.
Before. We got to be there before. Right? Before. People don't buy when you're ready to sell. They buy when they're ready to buy. It's your job to stay in the forefront of their minds so that when they do need or your service, they already know they're going to go to you. That's lesson number 1 right off the bat. You know, that person was positioned as the icon in his industry. That was the expert. That was the celebrity expert. They already knew of him. Right? And then, of course, the next and most important thing is for the people that know where the solution is at, they'll pay you a lot of money, you know, if you know what you're doing. And that's kind of how I live my life, and that's how I work with a lot of our clients. So Casey gave me an amazing introduction. He always does. The truth is, that's really the reason why I come out, is just because Casey gives me such amazing introductions. Us speakers, we're egomaniacs, so I've been looking forward all day just to hear Casey say all these nice things about me. Meanwhile, my employees and interns, they just give me a hard time all day long, but I knew that if I came here, he would just pump back up my ego and make me feel real good about myself. But this is what we do at Icon Builder Media. And I always like to ask people 3 questions, okay? Just to make sure the information is relevant to you. Here they are, ready? Would you make more money if you were more influential? Would you make more money if you were more credible? And would you make more money if you had more exposure? If you answer yes to any one of those things, then you are an ideal client or an ideal prospect to work with Icon Builder Media, or to read the book Cracking the Icon Code, or just needing to raise your icon status. Because that's what being an icon is all about. It's about having influence, it's about having credibility, and it's about getting exposure. And most of us, we do need that, and most of us will benefit from having it. One of the things that I talk about is how to create an unfair advantage in the marketplace. How to create an unfair advantage over the competition. By the way, does that bother anybody that I said the word competition? Guys, I'll tell you what, in this day and age, competition has become like a dirty word. We're all supposed to hug hands and collaborate and sing kumbaya. And it's just, I don't know about you, but I still think it's okay to compete. Now, we don't compete by putting other people down. What other people do is whatever they do. We compete by the things we do, right? Icons have fans. What do icons have? Fans. Fans is short for fanatics. Who here would like to have more fanatics? More fans. They just won't stop talking about you, right? This is what makes the world work. We call this social proof. Okay? Some people will talk about leads and lead generation. Sure, I know how to do that. We have to get leads in order for our business to survive. But I wouldn't say lead generation is what I want to teach you the most. I wouldn't say lead generation is what we're about the most. We're about sales conversion. We're about creating an unfair advantage over the competition in the marketplace. What we're really about is how to answer that question of why you. How many people last week or last month were talking to a potential client that they essentially had to explain why them, why you? Anybody had to do that? In the last week? You guys talking to potential clients? How many people talked to potential clients the last week? Last month, right? So essentially what you had to do is say, why you and not somebody else? Okay? One of the things that we do, and this is why I call it an unfair advantage, is the people that have a lot of social proof, they have a lot of fans, they may not even be the best person. How many people are annoyed and irritated by the fact that they have seen somebody get business that they should have got, but yet they were just more well known? You see that? Then they just tick you off. You're like, oh man, I know twice what that person knows, right? I'm telling you, it's terrible. This is what happens too when people come to work with me. I think that we do pretty good. I think that we're pretty knowledgeable. But when somebody says, why you, David? I live for that. I thrive on that. I'm begging you to ask me that. Everything I do is pushing you towards the direction of saying why you. I'm daring you to say that. Why? Because I have hundreds of video testimonials. I have close to 1,000 LinkedIn endorsements. I have all kinds of social proof, all kinds of media I've been in. I've won marketing awards. I was the previous CEO of Guerrilla Marketing. I've written books. And I'm not bragging. What am I doing? I'm applying for a job. You've got to look at it that way. You're not bragging. You're applying for a job. Now, you've got to do it in the right way. And you've got to say the right things. And what's the right way? It's not for you to say it. It's for what? Other person to say it. Everything we want to tell the world, everything we want to tell a potential client should come from somebody else. From who? Somebody else. Peggy, say somebody else. Rick, say wow.
Wow.
Right there. It's right there. This is... Thank you guys. You guys are good. Well, Mike brought you out here. Is this everything you bargained for? Poor Mike. I mean, he brings this guy out, Ryan. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know what's happening. We're in this place. We're breaking fire codes. We're not sure what's going on. I feel like I'm at a political stump meeting here. I'm at a city town hall. I'm about ready to tell you my platform for running for office. We're having fun, though, right? Guys, it's social proof. We need social proof. We got to get more testimonials. We got to get more endorsements. We got to win more awards. We got to be featured on the media. These are the things that will help separate us from the what? Competition. Absolutely right. We got to separate ourselves from the competition. So this is what we want to work towards, and this is kind of what we do at Icon Builder Media, and this is what we teach in the book Cracking the Icon Code, is how do you raise your icon status? Do you think being a speaker raises your icon status? Yeah. Maurice, this is what he teaches you. Get up, speak, get out in front of a group. Right? This is so important. Okay? What happens when you're on TV? Guys, write this down. Write down this groundbreaking idea. Visibility equals credibility. It shouldn't be this way. It really shouldn't. But that's the way it is. Visibility equals credibility. Okay, there was a day and age, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago. You want to be on the cover of Time magazine? You know, you want to be on, New York Post or something like that? You're winning a Nobel Peace Prize. You're inventing something, right? Now who's on the cover of all of our magazines and newspapers? The Kardashians, right? I don't have anything against the Kardashians, and I got to be careful. Several of our clients are on the Bravo TV network, and things like that. So look, I'm not trying to upset anything out there. I love them. We love them. But look, fascinating. Be fascinating. Be intriguing. This is what people want. They want somebody who's fascinating and intriguing. Some people think, well, I know more than anybody else. I don't care. And guess what? Nobody else does either. You can know the most, but be the least, and it's going to get you nowhere fast. You can know the most and be the least. Isn't that strange? It is. It's really unfortunate. So if I'm going to tell you to do something today, get a bunch of social proof, start getting a bunch of fans, start learning ways to become fascinating, start learning ways to become intriguing, and that's not easy for some people. How many people here just feel more comfortable hiding out behind the computer screen? Hiding out in office? Yeah, no, it is. Really only one? Seriously? Maybe two? How many people here feel like they really have a company, and in a perfect world, no one would ever even know that they own the company? Yeah, I mean, this is an advanced group of people, but most people, they just, they don't want to be out there. Here's the thing. People like to deal with people. They don't like to deal with companies. Why is that? Why do you think that is? Trust. That's the biggest thing right there. The government screws us. The big bank screws us. Now look, I'm not playing the victim here. I'm just telling you what most Americans think. The government screws us. The big bank screws us. The store screws us. We're the little guy. And everybody, when you see a logo in a company, okay, maybe. Maybe if it's built something up. But most of the time, you see that, you're disconnected. Now you see a person, it's easier. Right? And that's what I tell people. Start with yourself first. Build your business around yourself first. As time goes on, you can disconnect it, separate it, and kind of have equal things. Microsoft, Bill Gates. Apple, Steve Jobs. Both these people had their own personal brand. It was every bit as important as their company brand. Now some people, all they have is a personal brand. What's the problem with that? Hard to sell something someday, right? Like Tony Robbins is Tony Robbins. I mean, how do you sell a company that's basically Tony Robbins? If Tony's not there, it's going to be tough. Now it can happen. Oprah. Oprah is Oprah, right? How do you build something else like that? So, these are things to think about when you get further down the road here a little bit. But that's my ICE acronym. It's changing lives, making people a lot of money, influence, credibility, exposure. How much time do I have?
I'll let you wrap when you're ready.
Okay. What a nice guy. What a nice guy. I'm going to take Maurice's advice and quit while I'm ahead. All right, we're going to quit while I'm ahead here. We'll take a break.
Yeah.
And then come back and do a Q&A if you have some ideas and questions. I have a few other things I'd like to share if that's okay. So good so far? Everyone get their money's worth.
Yeah.
Because I'll make them refund your money, right? I mean, I'm not doing it. Thank you, Casey.